Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, the government will move to cancel the passport of embattled Congressman Arnie Teves after charges have been filed. The Justice Department adds Teves is now in the radar of the Interpol to track his location as he continues to evade authorities. And the House leadership appeals to the suspended lawmaker to return home or face more sanctions. Teves' lawyer, Attorney Ferdie Topacio, joins us live. The government will move to void the passport of suspended Congressman Arnie Teves after charges have been filed. Justice Secretary Boying Remulla believes that the suspended lawmaker will travel around Asia after his request for political asylum was rejected by the Timor-Leste government. He adds government will also consider canceling Teves' diplomatic passport if proven he is using it to evade authorities.
We will wait for the cases to be filed before our courts by the prosecutors, by the panel of prosecutors, before we seek for the cancellation of the passport. The diplomatic passport, when he went to another country, then we can seek its cancellation because a diplomatic passport is not a right but a privilege given to government officials. It's only a privilege given to us to travel with diplomatic cover. But since he is a suspended member of the House, then he should not be using that passport anymore.
Meanwhile, senators resumed their investigation into the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo. During Wednesday's hearing, a former employee pointed to the Degamo family to be behind the strafing of her house, while another accused them of being involved in gambling. Amer Santos has the details.
A series of gunshots was heard in this video supposedly taken outside the house of Kitty Torres. At the 4th Senate hearing on the killing of Governor Roel Degamo, Torres detailed the incident, which happened early morning of April 21, a day after the 3rd hearing. Videos obtained by the media show a white vehicle passing by Torres' supposed residence. When it came back, an unseen gunman rolled the window down and fired multiple shots. Torres suspects the Degamos were behind the shooting, accusing the family of being involved in crimes themselves.
So sinong pinagdudahan mo nag-snapping? Sige nga.
Mga Degamo po. Mga Degamo po. Sila po. Kasi Teves and Degamo, Mr. Chair, are both warlords. Yung mga Degamo din, marami din silang unexplained wealth nang dahil sa kaba ng Kapitolyo.
Torres formerly worked for the slain governor. The Degamo camp denied her allegations.
Yung strapping, that's far from me. You know, that's not me. Otherwise, hindi ako pupunta dito sa Senado at magbarila na lang tayo doon sa Negros.
Sa sakit na nangyari sa amin, kung warlord kami, hindi strapping ang gagawin. Ma'am, lahat. Kayo, buhay pa.
Another former worker of the Degamos accused them of being involved in gambling. He now works for former Governor Henry Teves, brother of suspended Negros Oriental Representative Arnie Teves, who is being linked to the Degamo slay.
Boss Mayor Fritz, huwag naman tayong magpakalinis dito. Mr. Chair, ito ang tunay na mayaman na tao. Ferrari, Lamborghini.
Totoo, Mr. Chair, nagsasabong po ako kasi I'm from Negros Oriental. We are a home of breeders. I drive Ferrari. Noong December 18, nirigalo ng close friend ko.
Pamplona Mayor Janice Degamo says their family is open to any investigation. Senate Committee on Public Order Chairman Bato de la Rosa says he will not allow the legislative probe to be used in character assassination. What's clear for now is the need to address the culture of violence in Negros Oriental. 5 months before the October 30 barangay elections, senators are worried about the conduct of polls in the province. They say the COMELEC should suspend the Negros Oriental polls for a month or place it under COMELEC control.
Peace and order po hindi naman po kailangan one day before the elections
I am just recommending to you to please put Negros Oriental under COMELEC control to see to it na walang mamamatay.
The COMELEC says it is studying the proposal. It is supported by the Philippine National Police, which said it would allow them to focus on securing all of the more than 500 barangays in Negros Oriental. Amor Santos, CNN Philippines.
House lawmakers could impose further sanctions against suspended Representative Arnie Teves if he continues to defy the chamber's return to work order. That's according to House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Back in March, the chamber slapped Teves with a 60-day suspension for refusing to return to the country after his travel authority expired. The suspension is set to end on May 22nd. The Timor-Leste government recently denied Teves' application for political asylum. Romualdez says the move could be tackled during the bilateral meeting of President Bongbong Marcos and the Timor-Leste Prime Minister, who are both in Indonesia for the ASEAN Summit.
I don't know if he will ask to produce him because he's already in Timor-Leste, so we are aware of that. It's up now to Congressman Arnie Teves to return home, or if he still decides to move to another country if he can. That's his own lookout, and he'll have to suffer the consequences, no? Pero si Congressman Arnie Teves, umuwi ka na kasi alam ng lahat na may mga aligasyon na harapin mo na lang.
Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have the legal counsel of Congressman Arnie Teves, Attorney Ferdie Topacio. Attorney, good to see you again. Maraming salamat po sa oras.
Yes, Ms. Pinky, you're always worth the trip.
Thank you, sir. The asylum application of your client, Congressman Arnie Teves, denied by the Timor-Leste government. What's next for him now?
Well, I would not be competent to comment on that because I believe for that he may have secured the services of another counsel who is conversant with the laws of Timor-Leste.
Are you saying that he never even told you considering seeking political asylum in Timor-Leste? You were not informed at all?
Well, that possibility was raised earlier during the course of this case, but as far as concrete steps were concerned, that was entirely within his discretion.
So who helped him with that? Who advised
I have no
him
knowledge
on
of that, honestly.
Are you sure? Or
Yes,
you
yes.
just want to invoke a lawyer-client privilege?
I would invoke it if I knew, but really, the details of that were not given to me in concrete details.
But prior to that, prior to the denial or the rejection, did you think it was a good idea when it was brought up in the past?
Well, I would not say that it was a good or bad idea because I do not know what he knows and I am not where he is right now. But from where I'm standing, I'm sure that, circumstances considered, all circumstances considered, it may have been an option for him at some point in the proceedings.
Certainly, that's why he did it. He was given 5 days, supposedly, to either appeal or leave Timor-Leste, and that should have been about, I would say, 2 days ago. Have you spoken to him? Any advice to your client?
No, as I've said, I'm not competent to advise him on that. I am not a practitioner in Timor-Leste.
So it had to be, what you're saying is, he was obviously helped by a lawyer from Timor-Leste.
Well, I would presume so because, that is the temperament of Congressman Teves. He would seek the aid of someone who has more knowledge in the topic than he does.
But offhand, would you think it would be better to appeal, or would it be better for him to leave?
I would not hazard a conjecture, I'm sorry.
Okay, it seems with this political asylum application, again, that was rejected, it seems he's not inclined to come home. Would you agree?
Well, he has never been inclined to return to the country considering the present atmosphere.
Which is?
Which is that there is still the persistence of grave danger to his life.
It's still danger. Is it danger also? Is it also coupled with how obviously the case is progressing, rather the investigation is progressing? Because he's not very happy with that, obviously.
Yes, definitely, because, that is why when I was watching the interview of Secretary Remulla in this show yesterday, I saw all the contradictions because he said he was being very careful with filing the case. That's why they have not filed it until today, as of now. But last March 31, he said that the case was 99.99% solved. in April 4, he already tagged Congressman Teves as the mastermind. So, and then he turns around and says, ayaw daw niya ng hula-hula. Napakarami na ng hula-hula dito sa kasong ito. Parang nasa Hawaii na tayo eh.
Okay, so I think you're obviously referring to the interview yesterday when I was asking him, isn't probable cause sufficient? Because it's just really going to be a complaint that will be filed before the panel of prosecutors. The panel of prosecutors, the NBI will file this. There will be a panel of prosecutors, and the panel of prosecutors will have to determine probable cause before.
Yes, that's correct.
Isasampang kaso sa RTC. To which he said, hindi na siya, parang napaka-weak. Yun ang sinasabi niya ng probable cause. I don't know if we have that sought. Do we have that? I want to play that, the one from yesterday.
We want to be sure that when we file it, we can prove it. Hindi tayo pwede maghula-hula rito. It's a very serious crime. I think differently, Pinky. When we file a case, I want a reasonable certainty that we can convict the person. Probable cause is a very weak, it's one of the weaknesses of our legal system.
It really seems like naninigurado si Secretary Remulla na mako-convict si Congressman Arnie Teves.
Well, but that is not the law. Unless, probably Secretary Remulla forgot that he is no longer a lawmaker. He's in the executive branch because what the law says is merely probable cause. Evidence that may engender a reasonable mind to believe that a crime was probably committed by that person. And according to the Supreme Court, absolute certainty is not required. Even reasonable certainty is not required to file a case. So why is he now amending the law to suit his own purposes? So dyan nga ako nagtataka eh. Has been flip-flopping. He said it was solved, but he has not filed the case. He said my client was a fugitive, only to backtrack later on, and now he's again saying that my client is a fugitive when there is no such basis for that statement in law.
Siguro balikan natin for context, Attorney Topacio. Your client has not been charged in court. That's what you're referring
that's correct,
to. Hence,
ma'am.
he's not a fugitive.
Yes, ma'am.
Pero may mga reklamo po siya. Di ho ba?
Yes.
Reklamo na hindi pa kaso.
Opo.
Okay, so para po naiintindihan natin, what will it take for Congressman Arnie Teves to face the complaints against him and come back here, sir?
The requests, as I've said, were already relayed to House Speaker Martin Romualdez. And they did not act on some of the requests, which evinces an intention for them not to try to safeguard his safety.
Yeah. Could you even tell us, I know that you gave a few, may pakiusap si Congressman
Yes,
Arnie
opo.
Teves. Can you tell us, ano ho ba ang kaniyang gusto?
I made a pact with
It's a gentleman's
Speaker.
agreement.
Yes, a gentleman's agreement. But in general terms, it would go to the entire proceeding because the threat to his safety will not end when he lands somewhere in the Philippines, even if you surround him with a battalion of Army Rangers or Special Forces.
So I'm assuming baka gusto niya ng house arrest, ganun ho ba, pagkasuhan siya?
Well, that is
Can I
one
venture?
of the... Yes.
He wants a house arrest.
Yes, he wants to be put in custody somewhere where he would be safe, of course.
And, what, is Camp Kramer safe?
Well, Senator De Lima was taken hostage in Camp Kramer.
So it's not safe.
I would not say it is safe.
Okay, so bahay po niya. Anyway, ako naman pong
Well, there were some options raised during my meeting, which I am not at liberty to divulge, but those were rejected.
Yeah. All right. We just need to take a very short break. There's still much to talk about. His passport, him being tagged as a terrorist at some point. Let's talk about that after the break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Watching The Source on CNN Philippines, I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, the legal counsel of Congressman Arnie Teves, Attorney Ferdie Topacio. Sir, I wanted to ask you, ang sinasabi ho kasing dating bodyguard, Congressman Arnie Teves did say that dati nga niyang bodyguard. But he said, matagal na daw niyang hindi nakakausap itong si Marvin Miranda. Although parang siya yung missing puzzle that was found, no? Ano ho ba ang depensa ni Marvin Miranda?
Well, I would not know, ma'am.
You're not teaming up with his lawyer, etc., sir?
No, I think he is represented by another lawyer. So I would not know the details apart from what I have read from the newspapers as to his testimony. But that is why I am still in a constant state of bewilderment because according to Secretary Remulla, they have already people who are pointing to Congressman Teves as the mastermind, but yet no cases have been filed. I mean, if I were him, I would be filing cases now because all you need is 2 or 3 people tagging him directly as the mastermind.
I think that's the operative word, sir, directly. That's why I'm asking you, if you are in touch or your team is in touch, let's call a spade here, sir. Kung hindi po, kung kakampi niyo po si Marvin Miranda, kasi siya yung closest link kay Congressman Arnie Teves, supposed to be ha, kung kumampi siya kay Congressman Arnie, walang direct link.
Yes, I heard...
diba?
Yes.
Kung bumaliktad po siya, delikado po yung kliyente nyo. Tama ho ba pagkaintindi ko?
Opo.
Okay.
Kasi as sinabi na po ni Secretary na eto na yung middleman. He is the casting director, kaya't si Congressman Teves ang executive producer. Pero mukhang nag-flop yata yung pelikula kasi pangit yung storya. At nagre-reklamo isang beses si Secretary Remulla na ayaw daw mag-cooperate ni Marvin Miranda. So that is as far as I know about that case. So
why aren't you reaching out to him? Potentially, sir. Kakampi niyo po ito, hindi
yes,
ba?
but there are ethical considerations. They might think that we are tampering with witnesses. We don't want to have that kind of suspicion in our hands.
But would it be tampering with the witness if you just talk to the lawyer of Marvin Miranda, sir?
Well, we don't want to be suspected of anything. I think he's ably represented. And we don't want to give the impression that we are colluding with any other person here in order to exonerate the congressman.
But he's all alone.
Well, I think he has counsel. I think most of them, I don't know. I even heard somewhere that one of them has filed a habeas corpus case against the government because the manner by which they were arrested does not conform to the rule on warrantless arrests. Yes. It was no longer in flagrante delicto or right after the crime. It was 5 or 6 days after the crime.
I'll be honest, sir, I haven't heard of that.
Well, I think I don't think it has hit much. Yes.
Okay.
But I've just heard about it.
Okay. So let's go back to the passport, sir. So according to Secretary Remulla, a complaint can be filed either this Friday, which is tomorrow, or Monday. And with that, they could ask for the cancellation of his passport. I already saw a news item, sir, sinabi mo. There are only 3 reasons where you can cancel somebody's passport. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, that is when he is a fugitive from justice, which he is not. If he has been convicted by final judgment, I say final judgment because the law says that the passport may be restored upon service of sentence. And if the passport has been tampered with or fraudulently secured by the holder. So none of these grounds apply to Congressman Teves.
Okay. Because hindi pa po siya pugante.
Hindi,
He's
kasi
not a fugitive yet.
Sinasabi po ni Secretary Remulla na he refuses to receive the processes. May abogado po siya eh. We receive the processes. We participate in all of the proceedings where we are allowed to participate. Unless, of course, binar kami sa Senate, binar kami sa Committee on Ethics. But the law, the Constitution itself says, any person under investigation for the commission of a crime has the right to be heard by himself or by counsel, meaning to say he does not have to appear personally. He may secure a counsel that will try the case on his behalf. So what part of that phrase, or by counsel, does the Secretary Remulla not understand? It's constitutional.
Okay. So, paano po ito? Hindi siya fugitive. Hindi pa po siya convicted. Hindi naman po through fraudulent means nakuha yung passport. What if they still cancel the passport of Congressman Arnie Teves? What kind of legal action are you mulling?
Well, then they would be in violation of the law, and we may have recourse to the courts to annul the action and the ombudsman because that would be a case of graft. Pero sana naman...
Is it graft?
Yes, because if you cause undue injury to any person under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, that is considered graft.
I see.
Yes, it's just an all-encompassing law. Pero sana wag naman kasi nasira na nga po yung institusyon ng Department of Justice noong panahon ni De Lima nung hindi niya sinunod yung TRO ng Korte Suprema. Ngayon ba naman ipapagpatuloy pa yung polisiya na yon na hindi pagsunod sa batas? Ay, masisira na po. Secretary Remulla should be conscious of the legacy he leaves behind. He has to repair the image of the DOJ, destroyed under De Lima. But what he's doing is he's continuing the policy of the DOJ, considering itself as above the law and legal processes.
Oh, so, sir, I'd like to talk about that, but here's the thing. Does he have a diplomatic passport? He's entitled to that, right?
I have no idea, actually. I know he has a Philippine passport.
But he must have. I mean, I'm assuming he has a diplomatic passport because if there are reports he was in South Korea, sir, kung pumunta siya ng States, yun yung unang permiso niya mula sa Kongreso, sir. I mean, let's just put 2 and 2 together. Kung nasa South Korea siya, don't you need a visa there? Hindi ho ba?
South Korea, yes. Yeah, you
exactly.
do.
So if he uses his diplomatic passport, tama ho ba? He wouldn't need a visa.
I really would not know.
But you're a lawyer. Yes. You would know. There's a diplomatic passport. If you hold a diplomatic...
All I know is that if the trip is official in nature and it involves diplomacy, then perhaps the invitation from the sovereign government of the host would be enough. That's what I know in the case of former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, but his circumstances may be different.
But he was in South Korea.
I really do not know, honestly. That I really do not know.
Okay. Well,
I know some things, but that location I have not heard about, honestly.
Okay. We'll be taking a very short break. We'll be right back. Watching The Source on CNN Philippines, I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, the legal counsel of Congressman Arnie Teves, Attorney Ferdie Topacio. Attorney, yung sa passport, just to be clear, if they cancel that, you will file legal action.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Yung po yung sinasabi niyong pwedeng even sa ombudsman.
Yes.
Okay. Ethics, ito po, Interpol notice on Teves. Reaction to that, sir?
That has been given a long time ago. I think within 3 weeks or a month after the killing. That has already been announced. So that is old hat as far as we are concerned. The Blue Note.
That's what it's called. Yes. Ethics Committee, they will meet soon to discuss this suspension of your client. That will lapse, the 60-day suspension will lapse on May 22. Speaker Romualdez says another disciplinary action could be filed. And we both know naman, no, attorney, please correct me if I'm wrong, even expulsion, di ba?
Yes.
Is a possibility. So what does he intend to do? Pababayaan na lang niya ho ba yung House Ethics Committee to proceed because of his absence?
Well, we would want to assume that this time, since the penalty that they are considering is expulsion, that they at least hear his side, even virtually. Because that is the right of every person, the right to due process. As an old saying goes in Greece, strike me if you must, but hear me first. So sana naman pagbigyan. I think that much courtesy, sana naman. Because I think that much courtesy they owe to a colleague and a co-equal in terms of representation of a certain segment of the population. Because expulsion will effectively disenfranchise the voters who elected him to the lower house.
Okay, terrorist tag. The Anti-Terror Council will meet soon and possibly tag your client as a terrorist. Sinabi nga ni Secretary Remulla in the past, gusto niyang lumiit yung mundo ni Congressman Arnie Teves. How are you readying this possibility?
Well, yun nga, alam nyo, ang kinakatakot ko rito, the way that Secretary Remulla speaks, parang siguradong-sigurado niya sa lahat Sasabihin niya, instead of in case charges are filed, sinasabi niya when cases are filed, once we file the cases, parang it's a foregone conclusion, so nakakatakot.
Isn't it, sir?
Yes, I took note of his language during your interview. He uses the phrase will be filed. Cases to be filed. When cases are filed, when it should be saying, should cases be filed or if cases be filed. I never even heard him use the word if. So anyway, prescinding from that regarding the Terrorist Act. Well, of course, the Anti-Terrorism Council is composed of people from the executive. The chairman is the executive secretary. Secretary Remulla is a member, the DND, etc. So I just hope they afford him due process because the Anti-Terrorism Act was not meant for this kind of situation. It was made in reaction, and this is borne out by the legislative debates during the crafting of this law. It was made basically to confront two threatening situations for the state. Islamic fundamentalism, because this law came in the wake of the Marawi siege, and of course, the armed communist insurgency. It was not made to be weaponized against people whom the state thinks is guilty of a common offense, and then you tag him into a terrorist. Otherwise, everyone, all the persons accused of a crime here would be in danger of being tagged as terrorists.
I think the argument, attorney, is that it's not a common offense. When there are so many killings in Negros Oriental that could be attributed to your client, yun naman po yung lumalabas sa hearing, although there was also a development there yesterday, hindi, parang mahirap ho atang i-describe yung sasabihin na common crime kasi ang dami na pong patayan to which they are investigating right now, to which your client might be alluded to as the suspect.
Well, that is the operative phrase there, might be alluded to. You do not take a law like this lightly because it is the exception rather than the rule. It is in derogation of basic civil and political rights. You cannot weaponize this. If you look at the law, okay, it is not even sufficient that there are a lot of killings. It is not even sufficient that you are charged with illegal possession of firearms and explosives. But there must be a clear evidence that these killings, these explosives, these firearms are going to be used to sow terror and panic among the population or a significant part of the population, or to destabilize the government, or to take away a portion of the government from the power or sovereignty of the central government. So these items are not present here. Yung Marawi siege, very clear, terorista talaga. Yung mga CPP, NPA, very clear, even internationally, recognized yan, terorista. Pero sasabihin nila, gambling organization, terrorism.
Hindi, yung mga nahuli daw na barel, umano na barel, sir. Yun daw yung mga barel na posibleng nakuha sa mga terrorist organizations.
There is no direct link to that. May allegation yung isang abogado dyan na may Jemaya Islamiyah
exactly.
That's nasaan? Where is the proof? Diba? I mean, this lawyer has been saying this and that, but the credibility of this lawyer is shot. You know, he only has one case, yung kay Napoles, where his client, Ben Harlui, fired him. And then, ano nangyari dun sa kaso niya kay Napoles? Talo siya ron eh.
Okay. Attorney, we've run out of time. I'd like to thank you for personally coming to the studio and explaining this to us. So let's see what happens. But do you think he will appeal the Palagay yun
well,
lang
if
po.
I were in his shoes, I would.
Appeal the political asylum.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Legal
Thank
counsel
you so much.
Congressman Arnie Teves, Attorney Ferdie Topacio. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.